right. Well, welcome back to the Midheaven podcast where we analyze the stars for you. My name is Candice Murray.
And I'm the peace dealer, aka Michael. We are here once again to enlighten and give you wisdom. I'm enlightenment, she's wisdom. We're here to
okay with that.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
So, in honor of Taurus season, I thought it would be fun to drink alcohol and gorge on pizza and talk about synastry aspects in astrology.
I love pizza.
I know, me too. Like pizza,
My
astrology.
synastry with pizza is amazing. It doesn't matter what sign the pizza is, it's gonna be in my belly.
I thought it'd be a good idea, but also it was like pretty highly requested. People were asking lots of questions about synastry and how compatibility works and what might be some of like the hottest combinations in astrology and synastry. So we're going to get into it. A few disclaimers before we begin. Number one, this is probably not going to end up being PG. So those of you guys have little ones around, you might want to put their earmuffs on. Also, Dad, please don't watch this podcast.
My mom isn't on social media, and my dad isn't. So
my dad subscribed, and I know he's like, he hears the bell, and it's like, ding! Word. I'm gonna go watch Candice. Dad, please don't watch this. I don't want to hear you. I don't want you to hear me talk about some of this stuff.
Oh my God!
My sister's gonna love it though. She's Scorpio all the way, but
word.
That and please
shout out to Candice's dad.
At least you're not saying shout out to my mom. Everybody's always asking me about my mom. I'm like, why do you want to know where she's at? Don't worry about her. Mind your business.
Word.
Yeah. Props to my pops. But okay, Dad, seriously, cut the video here, please. Yeah, so that and this episode is brought to you by Domino's and Trader Joe's. Light. And white wine and all of the things that we like to indulge in because we have Taurus second house placements and we're fat.
Second house sun right here.
PHAT, fat. You're a second house sun too? Me too. Oh, you like nice things. You like face masks and Gucci belts.
Is that why we're bosses?
Probably.
That's amazing. Word.
Haters gonna hate.
Word.
So do you want to riff a little bit on what synastry is for those little astro babies while I stuff my face with some more pizza?
So synastry, okay, and I'm just so angry right now because
you can't eat this.
I'm not high right now. I'm not smoking, so my appetite is gone. And normally I would have eaten all these pizzas before she had one, but
you fucked up.
My limit is 2, and I just feel less of a man. But other than that, synastry is actually my bread and butter. Like if there were astrology specifications, or like if you could when you get a master's degree, right? If you're learning engineering or medicine, you specialize in a field. I'm a relationship astrology specialist. I'm going to actually have a course out. I don't know if you're used to those how to get with the pickup artist community, and it's like, oh, do you want her salivating for you and getting that? Like, y'all don't even know I'm about to drop the best astrology pickup artist course for men and women. It's on the way. But synastry is basically when you look at one chart and how it relates to another chart. It has nothing to do with romance, but its application is usually romantic because a lot of people want to see what them and their partner have, which is awesome. But anytime you take the synastry or the chart of one person with an event, a person, or multiple people, that's synastry, where we start to look at how each planets influence other people's planets. And what made me a believer in synastry was a real-time experience a long time ago, a few years ago, and this confirmed to me that fire signs are here to get you laid. Because like if Sagittarius or Leo, no, you're not getting laid. I don't know, like they're generous or whatever. But I called my friend to drop me off some marijuana, and he brought his one friend with him who was actually an escort at the time, and very unexpected. But I read her chart, you know what I'm saying? She was a fine Taurus mommy, all right, with the Virgo moon. And I realized, whoa, she has her Mars and Eros right on my sun.
Oh, I'm so excited to get into this conversation.
And what I learned about that was, okay, Mars for the woman or anyone is what you find desirable. Like you think they're hot, and Eros as that too, right? And as soon as I make that realization, I look up at her and she's like, take off your shirt. And I was like, oh shit. And then like, damn. And then my sad friend was like, hey, you know what to do. And like we had sex like within an hour.
What?
So,
That took a turn.
That was the best sex I ever had too. Like, that's when I learned Taurus is legit. Ooh. But yeah, we actually, you know, TMI, we came at the same time. All that was the first time I ever experienced that. She was on top. But yeah, other than
Oh my God.
but that's what let me know. And that's why I'm gonna build this compatibility course. Like, hey, like if her Mars is in your sun sign, you got her, B. Like you, and vice versa. Like you feel me? Like she wants you, B. Like that's what's up. Or if a man's Mars is there, right? But that's what really made me take compatibility so much more seriously, because it's like this is real. Like has real time effects and like you can measure
So
it.
good. It's so
Oh,
good.
yes.
I like to take it a step further. Oh my God, did you see that?
Yeah. Because you taking it a step
The fucking
further and
sex
everything.
gods are here.
They're like, oh, they talking that good tea. Hold on. We need to sit down. It made me respect the 8th house, like the obsessive quality. You don't know how many Scorpio risings are like feeling your boy because I'm in their 8th house. And like, I'm talking about leaving paragraphs, like trying to low key get at you. So when I find out some of the Scorpio risings, I'm like, yes.
That's so true. I never thought about that. Okay, so then you can take it a step further and you can look at the composite chart, which is also pretty cool. And that's when like you take both people's chart and then you combined it, and it's like if that chart were to have a baby and the consciousness of the relationship is that chart. So you can look at the midpoint for that, or you can look at the Davidson.
Candace put me onto the Davidson. She made me a believer. I never really even touched that, but it's legit.
I go back and forth because like the midpoint,
I'm more a composite guy.
The midpoint composite creates the midpoint, which is the center point and sign for both individual natal charts, which oftentimes creates some combinations that never even happen, right?
Like Mercury opposite the sun or something like that.
But if you look at the Davidson is the midpoint, both in a sense of the date and the location of both partners' charts, which I think is fascinating. I look at both. I think both are very accurate, but like Synastry astrology is one of my favorite things. Like back in the Astrology days, like I remember doing like a course on like the sex and love astrology, and like, you know, that ended up kind of being a pretty fucking big deal. Big enough to land Lotta on Refinery 29. And in the top 10, you see your girl there talking about sex and astrology, because I know a lot about it.
And Scorpio does real sex. So
well, I mean, I have. So it was interesting because you were talking about the Eros connection, because that's really fascinating to me. For those of you guys who don't know, it's like Eros and kind of like Cupid, kind of like,
or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't even realize until now I have Eros and Psyche and Taurus. So it was like a double whammy.
Very interesting, because you know the story of like Eros and like Psyche and like the whole like connection, and he takes her away and like she can only be in his temple and they have sex all night, but they can't see each other and she can never see his face. And so usually people who have like Eros placements, they don't want to show their face. They will cover their face. And I never realized that until recently, but I've always noticed like...
Oh my God, that makes so much sense. I have Eros in the same sign as my rising, and if I had a girlfriend who did OnlyFans and sucked my dick, I would not want my face on there. Like, no one can see me. Like, I will, you can't show me, but thank you. That makes so much sense.
So I have like notoriously taken photos for like the last like decade where you only see part of my face. Well, I have Eros exactly. And I'm not talking about like a degree or two. I mean, it's like exactly to the minute, to the second, my Eros is conjunct my sun, which is also conjunct Mercury and Pluto. So I definitely don't like my face being seen. I don't like putting my face out there. I don't like being on camera. But the more that I learn about Eros, I'm like, I'm a fucking sex fiend.
Oh my God.
I'm a fucking sex fiend. And anybody who I've met who has like Scorpio sun, even though Scorpio sun men are trash to me. I'm not disrespecting you, but for me, I can't do that because two psychos, somebody's gonna get killed. But like, if you have a Scorpio rising, especially like my partner has Scorpio rising and it's like my sun's exact. So my Eros is on his ascendant, and also his Eros is conjunct my Pluto. Oh. And his sun opposes my Pluto.
Oh,
yeah, it's fucking...
I was about to say we can't forget Pluto, because Pluto is a whole nother, and Pluto on Sun and Scorpio is or Pluto Sun, Libra, Scorpio, whatever, but especially Scorpio, y'all understand the true nature of death, sex, birth, and rebirth and all that.
Because Scorpio sees sex as something that is tantric but regenerative,
That's
therapeutic.
The one sign with Leo I've never had sex with yet, and I feel like the one day I have sex with Scorpio, I'm gonna die.
You've never had sex with a Scorpio ever?
That's how I want to go out, honestly. Kylie Jenner, I know you a Scorpio moon, 8th house Leo, so holla at me. Leo, I could be your personal astrologer.
You mean Scorpio rising or Scorpio sun?
I've never had sex with Scorpio sun and Leo sun. So if an 8th house Leo sun with a Scorpio moon wants to have sex with me, Kylie, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be your next baby daddy. Like, let's stop it.
I've had sex with, I don't want to get into that, but I've had sex with every sign in the zodiac.
I mean, and like, I would have too, but I was inexperienced. Like, I have to write a book again now that I'm 30 and describe the experience. The only time I had sex with Aquarius, I didn't know you were freaky. Aqua. No. That was the only sex I ever had where normally the guy F's the woman. She was all like, duh. And I was like, whoa.
Oh my God.
I didn't even last like 5 minutes. I felt embarrassed, but I'm ready for you now, Aquarius. Like,
maybe it's different. The men and the women are different. Obviously, it's a preference thing, right? Because it's not just the sun. You got to look at like the Venus and the Mars and the moon. Right. But
Mars for sure.
I feel like as a Scorpio woman, like sex with an Aquarius man has always been like, ugh. Like, I'll pass.
I heard Aquarius men are pretty trash in bed.
They're bad.
Like
they're really bad. No, they're just like dead
yeah.
fish. It's just, I'll pass.
Because it's too mental for them, I think.
No.
All I'm going to say is Gemini, we the lovers card. So we nice with our hands. We nice with our tongue. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say. You feel me? But like, yeah.
Gemini men are the most fucked up in bed. That's the one thing I will say. Like some of the freakiest experiences that I've had were with Gemini men. Like, you guys are just fucking weird, and it's beyond just like the verbal dirty talk. It's like some of you guys will just
to experiment.
Yeah, but some of you guys are just like, you just want to be pissed on and things. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's weird. It's a little out there.
I don't want to be. Well, you know what? I got a lot of earth. No. But you know what? Biggie Smalls did make a song about a chick who wanted him to piss on her. So, I mean, there is some weirdo shit that does happen in sex like that, but I'm too conservative with my cat moon. Like, there's only a certain limit. Like, I'll never eat ass or, like, really get my solid
It's 2021.
I know, but see, I think I haven't been broke, and I haven't had sex with a Scorpio. I haven't been broken sexually into it. You feel me? Like,
I feel like you haven't had sex until you've had sex with a Scorpio.
And I truly believe that, like, everything, and that's why I feel like, even though I've had sex and lost my virginity to a Sagittarius in a movie theater who told me it wasn't even her first time there.
Oh my God.
I still feel like I'm a virgin. You feel me?
Oh my God. Wait, you lost your virginity in a movie theater?
In Kansas. We're the only ones in the movie theater.
Wait, your Venus is in the 12th house?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's in the same sign as my AC, but it falls in the 12th.
And it opposes Pluto.
Yeah.
So you had sex in a theater.
Yeah. Is that 12th house?
Yeah, movies.
Oh, that's wild. Then the next time was in the laundry room. She said it was like her second time there. And that's what I appreciate. Like, I thought that
Geminis are freaky. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I feel like sex should not be limited to just having sex in bed. Like,
I thought I wanted to lose my virginity with like a wholesome woman who was in there, but I'm glad it was with an experienced freak.
You don't need to worry about that. The first time's so bad anyway. It's just like, you just want to get it over and done with and then like never ever speak to that person ever again.
I was about to say something way too. Nah, we good. Way too TMI. All right, fuck it. So
I'm not trading V card stories with you, but I'll listen to yours.
I was tripping. I texted my friend like, "Oh my god, this happened," but like, she had told me to come in her, and I wasn't. You know.
Oh my god, we're gonna get censored so quick. I can't. Yeah. It's okay. Fuck it.
Anyway, I love you, Sagittarius. That's all I'm gonna say. Every time I had sex with Sag, it's super fun. Opposite sign sex is amazing, but honestly, the future of relationships in astrology is synastry. And one thing that I can share, understand, because a lot of men are desensitized with that. Like I saw, shout out to Take My V Card. He was talking about, he was talking about he's tired of women talking about, oh, you're a Gemini, I don't know if we can get along, or like, you know, blaming so much stuff on astrology. And from the outside looking in, it looks like women are just so obsessed with astrology. It's a meme too. Like a woman was like, oh, I don't know how you can get so pissed off by a sports game. And then some dude clapped back with, I don't know how you can take astrology so serious with dating. But that's because women know the fucking matrix codes. Like that's the other side of it too. Like once you get, if men knew astrological compatibility like women did, they'd be more obsessed with it than women.
It'd be game over. And you can also sort through things really quickly and determine whether or not it's worth your time, or whether or not, I mean, and women are doing this now that we have like CoStar and Astro.com and like the pattern and a bunch of shit. People are like now trying to figure out where people's Venuses and their moons are, which is cool because you can learn their love language and like what they're about. But I feel like it's being taken a little far, where girls are like, okay, so I just met this guy on Tinder and I stalked his Facebook and I found his birthday. And then I also kind of like started playing with his chart and trying to figure it out because this is how he looks. And I'm just kind of like, fuck, bitch. Like, just go on a couple dates and get to know him. That's the because you're losing that connection. But then again, part of me is like, life's too short for bad sex. So like, definitely find out where his Mars is.
And yes. My Mars is 8 degrees and like.
Oh, are you bragging now?
No. Because if I had I spoke to a Capricorn woman, we had an interview, and she was talking about how her Mars is like 29 degrees and her Mercury's at a low degree. So it's hard for her to communicate, but it's easy for her to do stuff. And like, she's pretty good at sex. And I was like, my Mercury's 29 degrees, so I could communicate, but like I'm 8 degrees Mars in Aries. So I don't even last longer than like 15 minutes. And like, you know, I could work on my sex game. Oh, hold on. No, it's going to be the best 5 minutes of your entire life. But like, I'm working on, it's just about to progress in a Taurus.
Can you imagine though, like having to tell women that? Like,
hey, is
that what you come out with? Like, it's going to be the best 5 minutes of your life? Yes. Do you really tell a woman that? I
mean, they'll experience it. I'll tell them after. But like...
Okay, but it's like, if you can go 3 or 4 rounds, I'm okay with that.
Exactly. And I mean, sex is supposed to be like 5, 10, 15 minutes anyway. But like...
What kind of sex are you having?
Hold on. I forgot. There's Taurus and Scorpio. Y'all be doing the love-making marathons. I want sex
for 3 hours. I do not give a fuck.
You know what? There was one time I was kind of surprised that much time went by, but like sex for me is infrequent, and I feel like that's about to change, thankfully. But like, yeah, like before it would just kind of just happen, and I'd be like, thank you, sex gods. But it was also weird because like there'd be that feeling where it's like, damn, we're so, I don't know. I've never had sex with a woman that I was in love with, and I feel like that changes the game versus just having
but like men find love through sex and women,
I believe it,
find sex through love. So like that's kind of the problem, is that like most men feel like, okay, I gotta, like, if I come back a couple times, like maybe I have feelings, and then eventually a year later they're like, oh my god, I love you, and at that point they've like fucked it up, right?
That makes sense.
But like women will be like, oh my god, I've had sex with you, I'm in love with you. Right,
exactly. Yeah,
I don't know. I have Venus in Capricorn, and my Venus is conjunct Uranus. Ooh. But it sextiles Mars. Exactly.
And Scorpio?
Yeah. I have Mars and Pluto in Scorpio.
Like, damn, that Mars Pluto ass. I need to have sex with a Mars Pluto before I die.
It's
Maybe
the
that could be how I
best.
go out.
Except like you might get kind of choked and burned and
So
like
that's why
chained
I
up
feel
or
like
something. But
I haven't had sex, you're like you said, unless I've had it with the score. But see, I feel like I'm still a virgin because like now that I'm 30, like my approach to sex is so much more different. I'm building my stamina now. Like I'm just so much. I know how to do it more. So I got to start from scratch.
Though, so you might want to like
It's
rush
29
through
degrees
that.
progressed Aries. Well, see, that's the thing. I've always wanted to rush through it. I've always been like,
Selfish?
don't tease me.
Hashtag selfish.
But now I'm learning to give. And now I'm realizing it's not about me getting off first. And now I'm wanting to like, I'm starting to get it.
You're just now realizing it's not about you getting off first.
And that's right, at 30 years old. And that's what's even crazier because I realized that men go through puberty at around like 12. And
I was just talking about this. Go on.
my progressed son is in Cancer around the 12-year-old. So technically I'm going through puberty right now. And now I understand why maybe I'm more ready for sex than I was before. So I'm like a 30-year-old, 12-year-old.
That makes sense. Most 30-year-old men are 12 years old. So
We don't mature emotionally to like 38, 40. So the way I look at that is I still have a good like 10 years to mature. I'm in no rush to do
supposedly
this.
men don't like mature until closer to like 42. So you guys are all fucking trash until about then. Sorry. But it's different for women. And it has nothing to do with astrology, but it's just like the hormonal stuff. It's like, you know, men go through puberty when they're teenagers and you guys are fucking gross and disgusting with all that stuff that you do. And like nobody gave me the memo that you hit 30 years old and you will like fuck a lamp. Like nobody told me this. Like as soon as you get to being like 28, 29, 30, like your sex drive is insane. Part of it is I think
as a woman?
Yeah. Like my progressed moon is in my 8th house, but my progressed Venus is in Aquarius. So it's kind of weird.
That makes a lot of sense. That's very interesting because I vaguely remember that, but I forgot that the sweet spot was 29.
For women is like 28 to like 40. So now it's just like it's like a thing.
Right. And that's why I appreciate like Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, like Cancer placements because it's not as individual and selfish as like, I mean, I fuck with Taurus because Taurus is the cuddler. And like they will get your body right. So,
but also wait, your sun's in the 2nd house, and then your Mercury's in the 1st house. So you're just like into like making out.
I am.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy making out and cuddling more than sex. I'm not gonna lie. I love sex.
Hashtag Cancer moons.
Oh.
Yeah, like the intimacy is like cuddling and sharing a bed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe having sex, but like I love that making out shit. It's
if you have your sun in the 2nd house, you like to. It's about what you put in your mouth. So, like to put things in your mouth, or you like to like make out with people, or like a strong Mercury placement. Okay, so what are your? This is gonna go so bad. So, what are your favorite aspects for Synastry? Like, what do you feel like are some of like the most positive aspects in astrology or in Synastry between a couple that would make for like really good compatibility, both emotionally or sexually?
8 years plus of reading charts, and I've noticed consistently anyone who gets Synastry readings, out of 10 readings I'll get, 8 of them are sun moon conjunctions, and it's usually the man's sun over the woman's moon. But I also, it's not popular, and I'm biased, but I also like the man's moon and the woman's sun. Sun moon conjunction is the go-to because that's really, or I'm starting to experiment with sun moon opposition and sun opposition and moon opposition because that's slept on too. But sun moon is like the quintessential soul spirit connection. And
the divine masculine and feminine coming together in that sense, and
by extension moon squares and sun moon squares, like that kind of does play out too, but
especially with the nodes, and we'll get into that because I think that a lot of people look at squares as negative aspects when in reality, when I've looked at a lot of charts, like hundreds if not thousands of charts of long-term committed relationships and partnerships and marriages, a lot of times you'll see like a
squares oppositions,
like an opposition of the sun, or you'll see like Venus square the nodes, or you'll see the sun square the nodes, or just the oppositions, because oppositions present opportunities. And so I think especially when you have synastry where a partner's Venus or maybe their sun or their moon squares the nodes, it shows that action that you need to take to collectively move towards your destiny.
Right. And that's what I learned with astrology, especially synastry, where if you're an amateur, you're going to look at we don't have trines and sextiles. And like the best relationships will have the worst compatibility. I don't know why.
You say best, you mean like sexually or like
especially sexually, but
yeah, because toxic charts produce the best sex ever.
Right?
You don't need a chart to tell you that. If you're two trash individuals and you guys find yourselves in a situation, you're gonna have really good sex.
You
of
have
course.
the best lessons because like I will get along with other air signs and earth signs, but it's that water sign and fire sign that's gonna push my buttons and vice versa. And that horrible compatibility brings out the worst and best of you. So you don't want to really look at a bad aspect and be like, this isn't going to work. That's actually what's going to make it work. Like if it's too free flowing and too good, it might be more platonic.
That's true. There's something to be said about too many trines or too many conjunctions.
You got to have some tension.
Too many. Yeah, the tension's good. I mean, I guess like, building off of what would be really good aspects, I would think like from an emotional perspective, certainly like the moon Venus is really nice if you have a moon Venus conjunction.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot. I mean, 2 or 3 of my long-term boyfriends were all Capricorn moons, and I have a Cap Venus, and it was good for a while, but then my Saturn Uranus kind of kicked in and I realized like I drive them fucking crazy. Like bad. Like I attract nothing but Cap moons.
That's wild.
So I kind of like swore that off forever now.
The Capricorn woman I've been obsessed with for a while has an Aries moon, and that's when I realized Mars moon.
That has pregnant written all over
really it. That's no joke.
Yeah,
that shit is insane. Especially in Aries. Oh my god.
Like because you think about like Mars is gonna put pressure and it's gonna cause war or passion, or in the moon Mars maybe they'll get you to emotionally react or to move. Last year I had Mars going retrograde back and forth on my moon, and I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And I definitely did move around a bit, and then I eventually did move. So it wasn't necessarily a bad transit for me. But I don't know. When I see like Mars moon overlays, especially like in maybe the 2nd house, the 5th house, the 8th house, I'm like, girl, you're going to get pregnant. You better watch out. That man's going to put a baby in you.
And then the composite chart I respected because it really is a third energy. So the last Cancer woman I had sex with had a Virgo moon. And as a Cap moon, our composite moon is in Scorpio. So events worked out to where the moon was in Scorpio and we didn't know until after the fact. And like we were tripping on mushrooms and had sex, but like it almost felt like our composite moon brought us together because we didn't plan it. It just kind of happened.
So that's also like the, like midpoints too. Like, I don't know if you like look at that, but I've gotten more into like midpoints and trying to understand where even
Cancer is really good in bed, by the way.
Cancer sun?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it depends on who, because I
I'm
would
sure
say
you
it was
like
also
that because of that moon opposition.
But maybe it was the Virgo moon I was liking too, because the Taurus lady also had a Virgo moon.
Very pleasing.
I love Virgo moons. This is my 5th house, Libra Virgo moons.
There's a whole other sexual side to Virgo too that I don't feel like gets enough attention.
Virgo is the closet freak.
The Virgo definitely wants to please and wants to serve, and they're very
lady in the streets,
meticulous.
freak in the sheets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. They're really good about being communicative and like maybe like learning what their partner wants.
No, they're also like sexual deviants, but you'll never know because they'll like you have to be cool for them to show you that. I feel like they're diet Scorpio. I don't know why.
Diet Scorpio.
Yeah.
Fucking low rent Scorpio.
Oh my god. And I say diet Scorpio with respect because Virgo watches their diet and body, right? And then Scorpio's just like you get the full on like I feel like the universe is like you're not ready for Scorpio yet, Michael.
I feel like once you had, I mean, and I'm not saying this like this isn't me like bragging because it's not really connected to the sun sign. It's more connected to maybe like their ascendant or their Mars or their Venus, but certainly like a Mars or a Venus in Scorpio, just like sex is very like different. Like it's just It's just different. Like a lot of people treat sex as just kind of like this like very nonchalant like thing, like shaking hands and then you're done. But Scorpio energy isn't like that. It's very deep. It's like it's very Pluto, and it's obsessive and fixated, and like there's definitely like this merger, whether it's like on a energetic level or on like a, I don't know.
I tripped on, then I started to realize the compatibility of sex and the Kundalini energy.
Oh, yeah.
And the cause effect relate. And this I learned late. And that's why I want to revisit sex now that I'm like awakened more. Like really document it. Because like I had sex with the Capricorn with the moon in Pisces. And please, the way I'm saying I had sex, like this is super infrequent. Like I've never had sex more
You're making it sound like getting laid all the time.
I've never had sex more than like twice in a month or 3 times in a month ever. Like I don't have frequent sex ever. Like if the last time I had sex was 2019. Like I didn't even have sex 2020. So but see, I also,
a lot of people didn't have sex in 2020.
But I didn't have. I don't leave the house that much, so that might be why. I mean, y'all got on my level 2020. But other than that, like.
unless somebody's gonna deliver. I mean,
the Capricorn lady I had sex with the Pisces moon, we were tripping on shrooms, and like I didn't even penetrate her, and like we almost orgasmed. Like I've never experienced shit like that before. We time traveled.
What's that like, having sex on mushrooms?
Awesome. It's pretty cool. But like I had sex with like maybe 2 Geminis, like years apart. But what I realized was, that was when I started to notice the cause effect. Like anytime I had sex with a Gemini woman, I would not have to eat for like a day and a half straight. And I just get like this energy.
Gemini diet?
I don't know if it's because their moon was in fire, but like that started to make me realize the cause effect relationship. I remember the Cancer lady I had sex with felt like a curse lifted from my body. And like,
yeah, it's called voodoo pussy.
Shit.
Hashtag voodoo pussy. It's
a real thing. So Scorpio woman, holler at me, and I'm trying to transform Leo. You too. You feel me? I gotta see. It's for science.
Leo
it's
women.
For science.
Yes, Leo women. Leo men.
I heard Leo women are good.
I feel like it's Leo men are the equivalent of Scorpio women. So anytime I've like tangoed with Leo men, it's always like this like Mexican standoff. Literally, that's what it is, until finally I'm like, okay, we're gonna fuck or what? And then we do, and then they just want to get worshipped, and I'm like over it.
Oh my god.
And then I like don't play into it, and I won't answer the calls, or I won't call back because I'm like over it. And then like the games go on for like 2 months, and I'm just like, oh, I'm over it.
That's amazing.
And then they'll still like stalk my social media, which is weird. They'll still like come around and they'll like unfollow, and I'm just like laughing because I'm just like, you're fucking trash.
The fastest sex I ever had was with an Aries, and then I had sex with a Libra woman that I couldn't get into the door because I left my key in my Libra friend's car. And so he came and was adamant that he had sex with us, and like also had sex with her and whatnot. And that was
a threesome.
A train, but like yeah. I mean, not really, because he had sex and then I did not. So it wasn't at the same time. I wouldn't call it a threesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting, but yeah, I mean,
you're a closet freak, Mike. Good for you. I didn't see it with that Cap moon.
I got it's in the 8th house, 9th house. I got Uranus and that's in the 8th, but I don't have that much sex. See, but here's the thing: since my Saturn's returned, your boy might get some consistent, punani. And the only reason why I didn't before is because I just don't go out. So like, I never put myself out there, but you never know.
I never thought about that. Uranus in the 8th. That's like group sex.
And it's square Mars, exactly 8 degrees.
What about like sex toys?
So sex for me has always been unexpected. Sex toys. I've never used that.
How do you have Uranus in the 8th and you're not like into sex toys?
Because I haven't been initiated. I feel like I need to be
go
like
to the
broken
fucking sex
in.
shop. That's obvious what needs to happen.
I got the Cap moon, so I'm gonna just get a tie your hands, and get a blindfold, and then maybe experiment with the feather. I don't know.
Okay, that's like super vanilla. You need to get pegs and like put up against a wall and some shit.
But this is a whole new world for me. I might have an inner dom and I don't even know exists. Like,
you should be into that.
Word.
Like kind of like switch hitting a little bit.
See, this is why I need a Scorpio girlfriend.
I mean, like,
but Sag is my 8th house, so Sagittarius. I lost my virginity to y'all. So what's up? Like, you never know. Oh yeah.
Taurus is my 8th house. And I love Taurus. I don't know. Probably because it's like, I don't know. It's like challenging for me. It's like very different. Even though I'm very second house dominant, I act like a Taurus, even though I'm a Scorpio. And so like that for me has always been like a blind spot. Like I've only ever been with one Taurus ever. Like ever. So, and there was only like one. So, and that was enough for me to be like, okay, that was like the best.
I've only had sex with one Taurus, and that was still like, if not the best, second best.
Taurus women put it down too, because they'll fuck you and feed you.
Yes.
They'll do both, and they smell good, and they look good, and they got lots of jewelry, and
y'all can
Taurus
get
women
it.
are.
Y'all can get it. I have my Venus in Taurus too, so shit, I might have a Taurus wife one day, if not a Capricorn. So
what do you think maybe about like Synastry that's like Pluto aspects?
Well, first of all, the sun moon thing is very confusing to me because the moon for the man is supposed to be the woman in his life or the wife. So I thought that you go for your moon sign, but realistically, I more see women get with men whose sun is on their moon or aspects it. But Pluto aspects, especially like moon Pluto, sun Pluto.
That's some like fucking Rihanna, Chris Brown shit, huh?
Or Venus Pluto. I was obsessed with the Sag woman who had Venus and Scorpio on my Pluto. But she was also in my 8th house, and it was just some crazy shit. But you know what? The one that fucked me up the most was the Neptune sun. That's also interesting because they open
because they're
up.
shady and they disappear, or
That part, but also there's this weird synchronicities, delusion, illusion game, that projection game that just makes this so much more magical and weird and shady. So there's so much, and that's why I love that we're having this conversation, because compatibility is like so still unexplored. I heard Uranus aspects are love at first sight, like with Venus and whatnot.
I've definitely had some people who they had their Venus on, but my Uranus is conjunct Venus. I feel like the very few people who I've ever like really been in love with, it was definitely love at first sight. Like for sure. Rare, but definitely like a thing. But I've had Capricorns.
Wow.
I have a Capricorn that has definitely been after me for a while, and it's funny because I think he's got a Taurus rising, and it was interesting because it's just so much like opposition. And from the very beginning, he was like okay, cool, like housewife, and I was like no. No.
Oh my god!
But
you didn't know about that Aries
the
moon.
sun. Well, I have Neptune conjunct Saturn too, so I
Right.
wasn't playing that game. I was a little reluctant, but Pluto aspects for sure. Like I've definitely had a couple women who have had Venus and Scorpio on my Pluto because I like men and women, I guess.
Word.
But I notoriously date men. But yeah, so that's happened. And I think like Pluto square Venus can definitely.
Yeah, that one's hot. That one's intense. Yeah. It works when it works. But
yeah, if you want somebody to burn your house down.
Yeah, and that's where we can get into obsessiveness and stalkers. That's all Plutonian. But it's also,
don't you have that though? Because you have Venus opposed Pluto.
exactly.
So I have Sun conjunct Pluto.
Yeah, that's always a mystery to me. And then we can't forget the King Kunxes. That's also underrated.
You know what? There's something to be said about that because it's like that's the in between like a sextile. What is it? Between a square and a trine.
Mm-hmm.
So the in conjunct or the quincunx. I don't know because I natally have my sun quincunx my moon, and
You have the opening quincunx and I have the closing quincunx.
I'm just very like anti Aries men. Like I've tried, but
like
I
a
can't.
lot of people are.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people love Aries, but a lot of people don't like the brashness of Aries. It's not a popular sign, but interestingly enough, I would say it's definitely the Scorpio Libra influence, because you would think that Aries sun on your moon would be like pretty cool, but
I've had it and I've never been interested in it. I've always found that I'm most attracted to either Taurus placements or definitely other Aries placements, not necessarily Aries sun, but other Aries placements. And I think the Libra men that I've dealt with, I'm convinced they were all gay. Like there was one guy who was like a Libra. God. He was Sun, Uranus, Libra, and it was like right on my ascendant. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And he was totally I thought for sure he was gay.
I think it's the Venusian influence. It like softens him up or makes
he was very attractive. He was a good looking guy. He looked just like Ryan Gosling. We went on a couple dates, and then it was like 2 months in, and then I was getting weird phone calls from a woman, and it was his girlfriend. Yeah.
That's what I know Libra men to do.
Your man's out there running around making the rounds around town.
It was a Libra man friend of mine who was justifying like, oh yeah, like, you know, when you have sex with another woman, you're protecting your girlfriend from not knowing it's happening. So it's not really cheating. It's just, you know,
what the fuck?
Yo, like Libra Sag man, like straight up. And like, but the thing I hate about Libra is that they can use language to make it make sense. And it's like,
oh yeah, for sure. Like,
even women too, the Libra woman, right. Like I had a Libra woman tell me like, yeah, I had to cheat on my boyfriend the other time, and I was like, oh, hold on, why are you playing victim?
I had to cheat on my boyfriend.
I'm like, holy shit. So like, if I ever dated a Sag or a Libra, even though there's loyal Sages and some Libras, like if they cheated, I'd understand, because like Sag's ruler is Zeus, who like slaying his dick to everybody, and like, you know, Libra and Sag, I just
can't with mutable placements. I fucking can't with mutable placements. Like I've tried.
And the Venus and Gemini gets the worst rap. But you know what? As much as I wanted to defend Venus and Gemini, I actually had a reading with a Venus and Gemini who was dating someone, was asking, is it cool if I talk to other people while I'm waiting for this person to get his shit right or to talk to me? And
That's nothing. That's nothing. I'm used to having clients that have Venus and Gemini in opposition to Neptune, and they're married and they still have joint banking and resources, and they're asking about like two other people.
The Venus and Gemini lady is a Taurus, so she loyal. But like, I get that.
I've seen a lot of like also like Cancers with Venus and Gemini. I had a boyfriend who had that for a long time, and I was like, I remember looking at his Venus, and I was just like, I know you're fucking around. I know you're fucking around.
The curiosity.
I could never catch him ever. And he lived in another city. So we would go back and forth. And then when I would come into the city and I would be like, give me your phone. And I would straight up be like, give me your phone. Like, you want me to stay here? Give me your phone. And I go through his phone and he'd have like 8 different text conversations going on with other women. And then you go through his fucking Instagram and he's got all these fucking accounts that he's following with all these big chicks with big tits and stuff, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm gonna be real, like if I didn't have my moon in Capricorn and Venus in Taurus, I'd be a hoe. I'd be a straight up hoe. I'm not gonna lie. Especially with the Mars in Aries, I'd be having sex with like everything.
But how are you not already with that?
Because my Venus in Taurus is so, I need that monogamous. Because you need
a woman that's just gonna fucking crush you and like not let you do that.
I do, I swear. I have Juno and Scorpio, so I need a very jealous like woman that's like, who the fuck are you talking to? And I'm like, I know.
Like that energy. Taurus likes that energy.
Taurus does. Exactly. And I love that my Venus is there. And then the Cap moon is like, okay, this person's loyal. But the Gemini part would be kind of like, I want my freedom. I got the Mars. And you're like, that's, if I had Venus and Gemini, I'd be a hoe. I'd be dating fucking different women at once.
But Venus and Gemini doesn't always have to actually cheat. It can just be talking to other people.
It's usually
or
just
like
talking.
Looking at other people.
It's kind of
like,
seeing your options open. Like,
I don't know. I got bad
it's
bad
really
vibe.
Sagittarius. And then people don't know, like Sagittarius and Gemini are open flirts. You got to look at Virgo and Pisces, because Pisces and Virgo will cheat on you. Venus and you will never know.
It's like cheat or be cheated on sometimes. Or like, you know, like Venus and Pisces is used to having sacrificial love. So it's like if they're with somebody who's too attentive, like they'll start sending pictures of their feet.
But you know what they hit you with? They hit you with, I couldn't help it. I wasn't planning on doing it. It just happened. And they play victim. And it's like, please, I didn't mean to.
I just feel like I'm a ball buster in general because I have Venus in Capricorn, because I'm just constantly like, I don't trust anybody. I'm super jealous too. I'm like super possessive because my 7th house ruler is in my 2nd. So it's like, if I like really like somebody, I'm like, I've learned as I've gotten older to be like cool, but like if there's anything that comes up that makes me like question, I'll be like, you're dead.
And then Venus trines my Neptune, so I've accepted that I've never been in love. Like I've only been infatuated.
Yeah, it's like idealizing love, and I'm sure lots of porn.
And I'm attracted to unavailable. Honestly, I stopped watching porn like years ago only because I have Instagram, and that's just way better for me. Because like it's basically porn, and like I could just scroll down my timeline, and then it's weird. But like other than that, like I realized that with my Venus in the 12th, I'm so attracted to unavailable women. And like
It's true.
once that illusion gets away, like I will kind of try not to meet the woman, because then my illusion about her will kind of go away, and then it's like the imagination is better than the real thing.
But that's also the mark of a soulmate. Like the 12th house Venus is like, goddess worship and loving women from afar and photos and like having multiple soulmates. I think maybe one of the most interesting aspects you'll see is like South Node connections. Like, South Node stuff is hard to break away from, like having a Venus or a Mars or a moon maybe on the South Node in Synastry.
And when I would do compatibility charts for people, normally they would meet each other when they were going through nodal transit. So it's like the destiny brought them together. And sun in the 7th house, moon in the 7th house. You mean like
transits to the nodes, or like the nodes moving into specific?
Kinda. Like maybe their composite nodes are on their suns, or like recently I'll meet people who have their composite nodes in Gemini or Sag, and it's like, oh, this nodal transit brought you both together.
You should look at the progress charts, because the progress charts for that is something too. Because
progress composite,
sometimes I've looked at clients' charts and I've looked at like Synastry, trying to figure out why they came together, and then you look at like the Synastry charts, and then you'll be like, oh, it makes sense. Like for me, like my progress moon was going through Gemini last year, and it was going through my 8th house, and then I ended up meeting my now fiance, who's got Mars in Gemini, and his progress sun was in Gemini. So actually when we reconnected last summer, it was like right when my progress moon was conjunct his progress sun, which is his natal Mars in his 7th house. I was like, oh, so I'm your second wife, bitch. What's up?
Anyone who doesn't know astrology is like, what the fuck did she just say right now?
But you're like, the wheels are turning.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that's what's up.
It's pretty interesting. So if you're lost and you can't understand why you've come together in a sense of timing with Synastry, definitely look at the progress chart.
And it will give you all the answers.
Yeah.
And you'll only see like 2%, and there's still 98%. That's just like, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely learning to embrace 7th house aspects, like when, like especially sun oppositions. Like for that reason, I really am looking at Sag and seeing how that really opens up as a Gemini sun, and then also Scorpio risings. Starting to appreciate that, I guess, because of my 7th house reflection year, which might
you have to pay attention to what Mars is doing this year, and when planets are getting ready to go through, or when your 7th house Lord gets activated. So you definitely want to watch for when it makes aspects in transits, and even like when because you're in a 7th house year, which is Mars, you really want to pay attention when Mars is coming into conjunction with Venus or aspects to Venus. The
best attitude though, because the one thing that will block people with Synastry is they look at Synastry charts and are like, okay, what are the best aspects that I can have? You're a master of astrology and Synastry when instead of looking at aspects as good or bad, you're like, okay, this is what we have, and this is how we can take these challenging aspects and make it work. Because you can make any aspect favorable, but a lot of people don't like to work through the conflict, so they want the easy shit. They want the fall in love at first sight, and they don't want to go through challenges. And a lot of people don't realize that your relationship is going to grow through the challenges that are presented, and that's what's going to make it last.
That's what relationships are made of, though, is like learning how to work through that. And what's so amazing about Synastry is being able to really understand how people give and receive love, and it's kind of building off of like the love languages and really understanding how both of you guys work separately and then together, and to be able to understand your partner better.
True that. I mean, just knowing the Venus compatibility and the Mars too make all the difference. And that's what really excites me, because now there's real data to go off on predictably being able to seduce someone if you know their stats. If you know, like they're...
Yeah, men are sleeping on astrology. I feel like if men knew anything about this, like you would be able to look at a chart, especially because women are so freely like, here's my information. Like to get like this information out of a man nowadays, you have to basically be like, okay, I need you to call your mom. You need to get this information. No, I need you to find out. Check your birth certificate. Like it's like a thing, you know?
And like that's so ironic, because I was the dude trying to like fish the time of birth from a woman without asking them the time of birth, like without it sounding weird. But it's so much easier to get it from women than a woman getting it from a dude.
Men are sleeping on this. I feel like you would get so much more out of the dating game and know
and
whether
as
you're
much as
wasting your
men
time.
are passionate about knowing how to do this, like a lot of what blocks men from it is just pride. Like they just don't want to be seen.
Pride and also
Straight men,
attention
astrology
spans.
is for you too. Like it's not just for gay men. I know y'all think it's for gay men. Real straight men who are on it know what they do, and I'm telling you, hop on. Like you need to know this shit. It's the matrix codes will open up for you.
Nowadays,
and
like even if you're a woman that's kind of into astrology, and like I'm a woman who eats, sleeps, and breathes it, but like if a man knows astrology, I'm like, penny dropper. Like, oh, your Pluto trines what? Like,
yeah,
that's hot.
If her Venus and Mars is in an air sign and you talk astrology, her panties will get wet. That's a fact. Sapiosexuals love men who know astrology. Period. Sapiosexual women. So it's pretty dope. Even if it's not in air, like it that's what I love about astrology. You know how to play to your strengths instead of trying to develop where you're not good at. And that really helped me realize that no matter who you are, you're desirable, because every sign will have an opposition and a trine and a sextile. So no matter what you say, someone will oppose it and not agree with it. But then you'll have a few people who agree with it. Then the squares are some people who agree with it halfway. And this lets you know where to look to instead of feeling you're undesirable. You just need to find who is compatible with your stuff. And that's what astrology and synastry helps you do. It helps you really look at your options, work on yourself, reintroduce yourself. And the cool thing is that there's not a definitive book really on all the aspects. Like it's always going to evolve because every generation is going to bring a new dynamic and Pluto cycle to it, or Saturn cycle.
Well, there's some old school perspectives on squares and, you know, and trines versus sextiles. And certainly like, Saturn Venus squares are not easy in synastry, or Saturn Pluto squares are not easy in synastry. But for the most part, some Mars or Venus squares can actually be fun, and it can bring about challenges and lots of chemistry and sexual tension. So,
for example, like I'm majorly Earth, right? So I can be with an Earth sign. Anytime I'm with like a Pisces or an Earth sign, Pisces will enable all my bad habits in a great way. Like I can go to Pisces to chill. But what I need is a Leo. I need a fire sign to burn that fire up on my ass, because the reason why I don't like the fire is because they're too extra, and I just want to chill and just kind of like, be whatever. But that fire sign is going to wake me up early as hell in the morning and be like, get your fucking ass up, we need to run. And it's like, it's a clash, right? But we're going to bring
I don't care how fine you are. I'm not waking up in the morning to run for your ass. Second out, son. Sorry. How about we brunch and hang out in bed and have sex?
There we go. There we go. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel that for sure too. So it is what it is.
Well, I'm glad we got to do this. And like, obviously synastry and like composite astrology, it's some pretty intricate stuff. Hopefully this inspires you guys to want to learn more about synastry aspects, or be interested in Mike's up and coming courses, or some of my lectures on some of this stuff. I'm certainly going to drop some stuff along the way, probably
featuring
this year.
Kylie Jenner. I'm going to convince her to do that course with me.
Still trying to get her. You're still trying to get her.
She's my past life wifey. You don't even know. We knew each other in her past life. But, please don't. The synastry. I forgot what I was going to say. But I know. This is don't worry, y'all. We're going to do another synastry episode. Maybe later. But we'll kind of consider this the intro to synastry. We'll go more into like more.
We should do like an actual aspects. Like lecture on it and like talk about it. That would be pretty cool to do that. Maybe we'll do something like that. But
we'll bring points and like break down the aspects.
Especially because I love to talk about all of the different aspects in synastry and like really kind of getting into the details of it. But hopefully this inspires you to want to learn more about it. If not, don't hesitate. You can book a reading with either Mike or myself. You guys can check out our information on the page. You can book appointments with the Peace Dealer or me at Beyond the Veil. We both have our own channels. You can find Mike at the Peace Dealer or me at Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology, where we do our own videos and we talk about what's going on in the cosmos. But until next time, thank you guys for joining our synastry and pizza party. We really enjoyed.
And just to expand on that, if you want that open door, if you're like new to this and you're not sure, come to me. I will give you that open door. If you're familiar and you want that deep wisdom and the specifics, go to her. Like after you
want to know when he's gonna come back,
right? If you want the nitty gritty, go to her. If you want an open door and get used to the concept, come to me. We'll introduce you. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for watching. We'll see all of you guys very soon. Take care.